Welcome back to the deep dive. Great to have you with us as we jump straight into the source material today.
Okay, so our mission here is to really dissect the Kia EV4. And look, this isn't just, another EV hitting the market. We're analyzing what seems like a very calculated strike. This car was engineered, produced specifically for that super competitive European market. And the sources, they show Kia took basically zero shortcuts in design or testing.
That's absolutely the core of it. This isn't some global car they just tweaked for Europe. It's bespoke. It feels like a surgical approach, focused entirely on what European drivers expect, especially around handling and, crucially, durability. And that focus positions it right up against the established leaders in the segment.
Right. Okay, so let's unpack that strategy. If you want to win in Europe, building it there seems like a good start. Where does this story begin on the map, and why is that location important?
It all starts at Kia Autoland Slovakia in Zelina. Now, this place is key because it's the brand's only European site that's also set up for EV production.
Oh, so that local manufacturing, it simplifies things, obviously, but it also really underlines that Europe-first identity they seem to be going for.
And the sources mentioned the press drives, the international ones, happened around Malaga, down in Spain.
Yeah, Malaga region.
That sounds like mixed roads, mountains, coast, maybe some city stuff. Seems like they wanted to show off the handling right away.
Precisely. It signals they're thinking about real-world European driving, not just smooth test tracks. They're benchmarking against diverse conditions from the get-go.
So who are they actually trying to beat here? You mentioned segment leaders.
Well, the EV4 has to pull its weight, strengthen Kia's overall position. That means it needs to go head-to-head, spec for spec, maybe even feel for feel, with cars like the Renault Scenic E-Tech and the upcoming Skoda Elroq. Those are serious contenders.
Okay, so the competition's tough. That means the engineering needs to be spot on. How exactly did Kia tune this thing for European roads? We're talking everything from German autobahns to twisty Alpine passes, right?
Yeah, they were apparently laser-focused on the driving dynamics. The sources specifically say they adapted the suspension, the steering response, everything for the unique character of roads over there.
And the result? What did the early drives suggest?
The reports coming back say it feels stable, very reactive, and this seems important, really good in the corners. It sounds like they weren't just aiming for okay, they wanted something properly engaging for European tastes.
Interesting. Now, here's something that caught my eye in the material. This design duality. Usually you get one look, maybe different trims, but here it's like two distinct body styles from the same base.
Yeah, that's a clever strategic play, isn't it?
Yeah.
Offering both a 5-door and a 4-door lets them target different buyers, essentially, with the same underlying platform.
So they're covering more bases.
Exactly. You get the person who wants that modern crossover vibe and the driver who maybe prefers a more traditional, sleeker sedan shape.
Okay, let's break those down. The 5-door, that's the sporty one.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
Engineered for agility, bit more spirit. You see it in the design, that angled rear window, the slightly stretched look, those wide-set rear lights.
And the front.
Up front, you've got what they call the EV Tiger phase, these vertical headlights, and their star map signature lighting. It's meant to look quite futuristic, decisive.
Right. And then the 4-door version leans more towards elegance.
Yeah, refinement is the key word there. Slender lines, elongated silhouette, a more minimalist rear end. It's all about looking sleek and probably being more aerodynamically efficient too.
So it's for someone wanting the EV tech, but maybe not the sort of rugged crossover look.
Pretty much. Modern tech, classic sedan proportions, roughly speaking.
Okay, let's step inside. The sources seem positive about the cabin space, comfort, tech. What stood out there? Any specific details?
Yeah, the feedback on the interior is generally good. Space and tech integration get mentioned a lot. They talk about a suspended interface, basically. The big screens look like they're floating a bit.
Gives it that clean, modern look.
Exactly. Plus, an asymmetric steering wheel, you can get it with 2 or 3 spokes, apparently.
Right.
And they seem to have found a decent balance between touchscreens and actual physical buttons, which, a lot of drivers still appreciate. All customizable with ambient lighting, too.
Okay, aesthetics covered. But if this thing is genuinely taking aim at the Scenic and the Elroq, do the performance numbers stack up? Let's get into the specs.
They're certainly competitive for this class of vehicle. You're looking at 204 horsepower, that's CV, and 283 newton meters of torque. Pretty standard, solid figures.
And battery options, I saw 2 listed?
Yes, 2 choices there, a 58.3 kilowatt pack, and then a larger 81.4 kilowatt option.
And that bigger one gives it quite a bit of range.
Up to 633 kilometers, according to the specs. That's a strong number. Definitely helps with range anxiety and puts it right in the mix with rivals.
Okay, what about speed and charging?
Top speed is listed at 170 kilometers per hour. 0 to 100 kilometers takes 7.8 seconds, so respectable acceleration. And importantly for day-to-day use, fast charging is quoted at just 30 minutes.
30 minutes is pretty quick. But, the real question, the deep dive part, is making sure those numbers hold up, especially range and charging speed, when you actually push the car. Which brings us to the battery tech itself.
Right, and this seems to be a big focus for Kia, proving the longevity. It's their fourth-generation battery tech, but the sources highlight this advanced thermal management system.
Okay, thermal management, keeping the battery cool, basically.
Essentially, yes. And optimizing how the coolant flows around the cells, why does that matter? Well, it means the battery can maintain its ideal temperature even under stress.
Like driving up mountains or cruising fast on the Autobahn.
Exactly.
Yep.
Or, critically, doing repeated fast charges back to back. Those things usually heat up a battery and can degrade performance or charging speed pretty quickly. This system is designed to fight that.
And they didn't just rely on computer models for this, did they? That testing campaign sounds intense.
Oh, it was definitely extreme. They did an accelerated simulation equivalent to 110,000 kilometers of driving on public roads. But the real headline grabber,
The Nürburgring.
the Nürburgring, a 10,000-kilometer campaign at the Nürburgring.
Wow. 10,000 kilometers around the green hell. Now, is that just, a flashy PR stunt? Or does that kind of extreme testing actually mean something for someone just commuting to work?
It's a fair question. But the sources suggest it's more than just PR because of how they did it. It wasn't just laps.
Okay.
It involved repeated high-speed laps, obviously pushing the car hard on the world's toughest track.
Yeah.
But then they immediately followed those laps with ultra-fast charging sessions, taking the battery up to 95% capacity.
Ah, so maximum mechanical stress, then maximum thermal stress, back to back.
Precisely. It mimics the absolute worst-case scenario you could realistically put an EV through.
And the results of that torture test.
According to the reports, even after all that punishment, the system showed minimal wear and kept its efficiency. So it proves that thermal management system works under extreme pressure. It tackles that core worry some buyers have about performance EVs losing steam over time or under hard use.
Okay, that's reassuring on the durability front. What about just living with it? Comfort, quietness, safety. What's the actual on-road feel like?
Well, beyond the handling, we talked about the stability and responsiveness. The sources make a specific point about refinement. The suspension is designed to really cut down on road noise and vibrations.
So it's quiet inside.
Apparently, yes. The soundproofing is noted as being very good. One review mentioned it glides away silently, even at higher speeds. That's kind of the benchmark for a premium EV experience, isn't it?
Definitely. And safety systems. Crucial for family cars in Europe. What's included in the ADAS package?
It uses the typical setup, cameras and radar monitoring, everything around the car. You get the standard stuff, emergency braking if it detects a potential frontal collision, blind spot monitoring, lane keeping assist.
The essentials are covered then.
Yes. And they also threw in smart remote parking assistance.
Remote parking. I always wonder how many people actually use that in, say, a tight Parisian street. But hey, it's there if you need it.
Right. It completes the package. And looking ahead, Kia seems to be listening to specific market needs too. An all-wheel drive version is apparently coming in the second half of next year.
AWD makes sense for certain climates.
And the sources specifically mentioned it's something Swiss buyers really like. So it shows they're still adapting the offering.
Okay, let's bring it all together. We have the tech, the testing, the two designs. What's the entry point price-wise? How does it stack up?
The starting price mentioned is 36,450 Swiss francs. Now, when you put that price next to the potential 633-kilometer range.
Starts looking pretty competitive.
Very competitive. It seems positioned aggressively against rivals like the mid-range Scenic E-Tech, potentially undercutting on price while offering similar, maybe even better range. The overall summary from the reviews was positive, spacious, comfortable, reactive, very quiet and easy to drive. Ticks a lot of boxes.
So wrapping this up for you, the listener, what does the Kia EV4 really signify? It feels like more than just a new model. It's Kia making a very deliberate, focused push into Europe's core EV market. They've focused on tailoring the driving dynamics, which Europeans care a lot about, and maybe most importantly, they've gone to extreme lengths to prove its durability. They're tackling those big EV anxieties head-on, handling and long-term battery health.
Which brings us to our final thought for you to chew on. That Nürburgring testing campaign was very visible, very high stress. Given how much weight it seems to carry improving the EV4's engineering, Could this kind of transparent, extreme durability testing become the new standard, the new public benchmark that all major brands need to meet if they want to compete seriously in Europe's premium EV space?
That's a really interesting question. Are we entering an era where just saying your EV is durable isn't enough? You have to publicly torture test it? Definitely something to think about. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the Kia EV4's engineering and European strategy. If you appreciated cutting through the noise with us today, getting straight to the facts on what's happening in the EV world, please do follow the channel so you don't miss our next deep dive. Thanks again for listening.